Good evening, everyone. Communiqué IIT Kharagpur welcomes you to the second day of the Internship Training Week. I, Divyanshan, along with Tejan Saurabhi, will be the host for today's panel discussion. Today, we'll gain important insights and tips about one of the most in-demand profiles, the software development. We hope this discussion addresses most of your doubts and provides you with all the essential details. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end of the discussion to address all your queries.
Today, we have with us an extremely talented set of panelists who have bagged internships in some of the most highly reputed software companies. I take immense pleasure in introducing them to you. Our first panelist of the day is Mr. Venkatesh Naresh, who is currently interning at Oracle. Venkatesh, can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Okay, I'll go with the KGP introduction. My name is Venkatesh Naresh. I am a fourth year undergraduate student of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, enrolled in its BTech course. I'm a boarder of Patel Hall of Residence. I'm from Thane, Maharashtra.
Thank you for that, Venkatesh. Our second panelist of the day is Mr. Samay Sawal, who is currently interning at Google. Unfortunately, he's stuck in traffic and will be running 20-30 minutes late. But worry not, he'll join the session in between to address your doubts.
So, before diving into the exciting presentations and discussions, I would like to congratulate our panelists for landing prestigious internships. Your achievements are truly inspiring.
Thank you.
Okay, so let us now start with the panel discussion. The first question is, when did you decide what portfolios you wanted to target? And besides software, did you try for any other portfolios?
All right. So deciding a suitable portfolio is it's a personal choice for everyone. It depends on factors like interest, how the working conditions will be, how many opportunities are available. So from the beginning itself, I was always interested in the software domain, the various fields that computer science has to offer. So I felt that the perfect entry into the world of computer science would be through software development, because software development is an essential part of any of the fields which are there currently. Like say if you want to go into blockchain, finally into machine learning, or in any other field, having a basic understanding of software development is very beneficial actually. So I felt that. So of course, I'm exploring other fields as well, but mostly I'll keep software development as my primary route.
So right now you don't have any other portfolios as a supplement to this?
No, not yet. I'm currently picking up some ML. So, but yes,
Okay.
during my CDC internship time, considering the factors, I felt that it would be better to start with software development. Hence, I chose to prepare for SDE.
That is very insightful. So what advice would you like to give to your juniors who are confused about what to try right now?
So now that the fact that the CDC internships are CDC rounds are going to start now, I won't suggest the juniors to explore stuff. Whichever field they are comfortable with right now, they should mainly focus on that. So for example, if someone has knowledge of both SDE and data, and SDE and data, and he has more experience of SDE, maybe he has done a lot of DSA, I'll suggest him to go in this SDE field only. If he wants, he can try for data later. But because anyways, data also requires SDE knowledge, so it would be preferable to stick with SDE. So not to make any sudden decisions now. Whichever thing you're good at, try to improve it.
So we should basically focus on our strengths for the CDC internships.
Exactly. Good way to put it.
Thank you for these insights.
Moving on to the next question. Venkatesh, can you please walk us through the basic selection process that the companies follow for software development intern role? Please provide us details regarding different rounds and the type of questions they ask.
All right. So this process happened just 1 year with me, just 1 year before. So it's still so initially, the major companies that they mostly come on day 1 and day 2. That is the first on which CDC interviews happen. A lot of companies come for that, and they to take their online assessments. So mostly this time I'm not sure how the timeline is going to be, but last time our day 1 and day 2 was in the first week of August. So after CV submission happened in the first week of July, from the second week itself, a lot of companies started releasing their online assessments. So in online assessments, what companies do is they give 3 or 4 coding questions, okay, 2 or 3 coding questions. You have to do that, solve those coding questions in a limited amount of time. And some certain companies also throw in some aptitude questions. So that is also there. Once the online assessments are done, you need to wait from the CDC notice board to check if you have been shortlisted for some company. If you have shortlisted, then on the weekend, depending on when your interview time is scheduled, you have to be there, you have to be ready. It would be highly advisable to take hard copies of your CV with you, because the interviewers might need them. It happened in Oracle's case actually. So your interviews will take place, personal interviews. Either the interviewer will be there, or you'll have to be connected through an online meeting through your laptop. But it will happen in Alanda only. So there may be 2 or 3 rounds of this interview. In the end, they may optionally take an HR interview. After that, you are told to go, and then you'll have to wait for the results. You have to wait for the results, and usually they come by the end of that day only. So this is the mainly the CDC track of how process happens.
Okay, so Venkatesh, could you also list some topics which were asked in the coding questions which you told right now? Some topics
Okay,
specifically.
okay. So in the online assessments, this time major focus was on questions of graph theory. Like there were a lot of questions where we had to do a modification of BFS or DFS. So, and there were certain questions also of dynamic programming. Actually, dynamic programming and graphs, these are the main topics from which all DSA questions come. Binary search, recursion, these are mostly like these topics are important, but they are mostly used like tools for a bigger problem like DP and graphs. So yes, online assessments mostly focus on DP and graphs, and rarely, and you might even get some bit manipulation.
So what would you say? What would be the level of questions asked according to the lead code difficulty?
Uh, I'm not actually familiar with the lead code level of difficulty terms, but for in DSA, as you know, there are a list of topics. DP and graphs are also of that. So if you're if you are giving also the lead code problem solving, if you're doing medium, yes, easy, medium, hard, right? Lead code. So yes, medium type problems come a lot of times. Yes.
So is in-depth knowledge?
Yes. So what I'll say is, once you cover a topic, once you're able to do a lot of standard problems of that topic, there are certain set of standard problems of a topic that you have to do. After doing that, yes, if you solve lead code topic wise problems, you keep on solving, practicing it, I think you should be fine. Because mostly in online assessments, the questions that come, they are slight modifications of the standard versions of problems. That's what happens. They are not very difficult, very new compared to what you have solved.
Understood.
So having a good knowledge, good practice of the standard problems, and then practicing it on different platforms will help you to answer the questions in the online assessment also.
All right.
Thank you for that. It was very enlightening. Now, addressing a major point of interest amongst the students, we all know that DSA is an essential skill for STE roles. So how did you start your DSA preparation? This is particularly for the first year students.
Yeah, okay. So during when I started my preparation, lot of seniors had suggested that there are a lot of platforms like AlgoZenith, InterviewBit, Lead Code itself. So for preparing the different topics, and some people also suggested Striver. So the main point is choosing a track. because you cannot focus. There are a lot of platforms to learn DSA. You can't simultaneously start with all of them. You need to choose a particular track and walk in it on it, because basically all the different platforms will ultimately teach the same topics. So in my case, I chose algos in it track. I had a I went through algos in it. Algos in it had divided all the DSA topics into weeks, like starting from time complexity, then basic mathematics, binary search, recursion, ultimately coming into greedy, DP, and graphs. So I covered each of these topics. Whenever I used to cover a particular topic, I tried to ensure that I finish the theory of the topic in 1 or 2 days itself. Because the main problem is ultimately problem solving. That's the main thing which you have to improve. So once you cover the theory of a particular topic, start solving its standard problems. Algozineth already had its set of standard problems, so I first started with that. Then there is an excellent portal called CSES. CSES.fi. So, correct. So I use that portal to again practice my standard problems. And after doing that, and it's not like I could solve all these standard problems in one day itself. That's not possible. At least in the beginning, it's not possible. So suppose I take topic A, I finish its theory, I start topic A problem solving. Then the next day, or maybe the day after, I start topic B. I again start topic B problems. So, but I'm also doing topic A problems as well. So as on you keep on covering more and more problems, you need to cover problems from different topics. And consistently doing this repeatedly, patiently, persistently, again and again and again till you develop a routine. That is the essential thing which you have to do in this preparation. So ultimately, I was able to form a routine and continuously solve problems. And that helped me in performing in online assessments well. I'll even go as to say honestly that my initial online assessments did not go well. My initial online assessment did not go well because at the time I was still covering certain topics, but still I did not lose hope. I believed in myself. I believed that I need to still, irrespective of how the online assessments turn out, I need to practice. So I kept on practicing. And ultimately, I was able to do well in Oracle's online assessment.
That was insightful. Can you also explain how much time should a beginner give to vast topics like DP and graph?
Okay. So the thing is, DP and graphs, they have lot of subtopics within them. So if you are able to give 1 week to DP, 1 week to graphs, that would be great actually. Because in that 1 week, you'll all be able to understand what DP is, what are the different problem categories in DP, and you'll also have sufficient time to solve them. So giving 1 week for DP and 1 week for graph, I'll say is the minimum which you should definitely give. After that, it depends on person to person understanding level. If he or she is able to grasp the different varieties in 1 week itself, I mean, for DP, for graph, very good. Then he can go on with the rest of the topics, or he can go on practicing more. Otherwise, take time as per yourself. But yes, giving 1 week for DP, 1 week for graph is a minimum from where someone should start.
Okay. And do you think solving CSES problem set for people who will sit in the CTC internships right now would be beneficial?
Definitely.
Okay.
Because CSES problems, they are the collection of standard problems. And that will actually help you in grasping the concepts of what you're learning in theory. At least someone should definitely start with that.
Understood. Thank you for so many things.
Also, should one start practicing contests on code platforms like Code Forces or Lead Code? Like during the DSA preparation, should one also side by side solve contests, or after covering all the concepts of DSA, then?
See, after covering all the concepts, it may get too late. I'll say that somewhere in the middle, let's say if you are able to cover topics till binary search or recursion, irrespective of whichever track you take, whether you take Striver, whether you take interview bit, whether you take Algozineth, if you are able to reach till binary search and recursion, you are able to solve their problems correctly. So I think you are capable enough to start solving on other platforms. So there's this GOC series of contests you should definitely give those contests, because they have the interview problems, online assessment problems of previous years. Then you should give lead code contests. I won't suggest much of code forces contests, because code forces contests are more focused on CP, more focused on the mathematical aspect rather than covering the DSA topics. And since DSA is more important for SDE profile, I'll suggest code forces contest may not be that helpful. Again, this is my opinion.
Yeah, all right. So moving on to the next question. How should one prepare for concepts like core CS fundamentals and OOPS for their internships?
Okay. There is a great blog by Algozenith on Medium. If you search Algozenith blog online, you'll get it. It's a Medium article. So in that, they have beautifully presented all the different resources that one can, follow for quant, for ML, DL, for this networks. CS fundamentals mainly involves OOPS, networks, DBMS, operating system. So that blog has resources for each one of them. It also has for cheat sheets, um, basic pointers which you should know, the questions which are asked regarding these topics. So you can get it from that blog. It's just mainly, and if you want, you can even check out YouTube playlists. It's just that you need to cover the theory quickly so that you can answer the questions. And again, the set of questions of OOPS, the set of questions of CS fundamentals, they can even easily be found on Geeks for Geeks. But one must definitely check out that Algozenith blog.
How much time do
How
you
much
think a non-CS person should allocate to these topics?
Okay. I'll suggest that first, of course, first start with DSA. Once you're confident with DSA, like maybe 60 to 70% confident with DSA, when you know that, yes, after this moment, I only have to solve problems and problems and problems, then you can start preparing CS fundamentals. I think, I'm not sure of the exact hours that you need to give in every day because that varies with person to person. But I guess covering one topic per day, let's say from OS, if you are trying to cover one topic, you can read up on that topic in a day, and then you can answer questions regarding that topic in a day. So yeah, after 60 to 70%, when you're confident with the DSA preparation, then start with CS fundamentals.
Thank you for your valuable inputs. So, carrying on with the preparation strategy, how vital do you think competitive programming is in the overall selection process?
Okay. See, even we raised the same question to our seniors, and also from our personal experience also, when I saw my batchmates, which kind of problems they were solving. So CP, see, if you're doing CP along with DSA, like CP also has a lot of extra topics and more focus on mathematics. So if you're doing CP with DSA, that would be better, because ultimately in SD roles, most of the times the companies will ask questions related to DSA topics only. CP is not asked that frequently. And I mean, CP is good. See, CP will be a good source of practice, I'll suggest. And regarding the ratings of CF and lead code, I'm not that familiar. I was actually hoping that Samay could answer that question. Yeah. So CP is fine if you're doing it through DSA.
So, since CP is more mathematical, according to you, it would be more suitable for quant roles, maybe?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Okay. So for SD, DSA main priority, and for quant, they can try this.
Yes.
That was very informative. Thank you.
moving ahead, what do you think is the importance of skills other than DSA, such as web development, Android development, and machine learning?
Hmm. Okay. So, so for a person who's targeting for an SD role, what I have seen from my experiences, mainly there are two tracks you can, cover. One is either you do DSA so well, you give contests so well that you are able to have good rating on Code Forces, Code Chef. I mean, some people, in resume also you can put that, yes, I've got a maximum rating of this on Code Chef, maximum rating of this on Code Forces. So that is one way. Another way is, if you're not that great in contests, in giving contests, or you don't have that much of high rating, that's not an issue, because the point is that you need to clear the online assessments of the companies, and they are not as hard as contests. So in that sense, you can also put projects in your CV. Either you would be very extremely good at competitive programming, or you can have a mixture where you're able to complete assessments well, and you also have some development experience. So that's what I did. I was not that great at giving contests, but what I did was I had certain projects, self projects, basically projects which highlight the development experience. So in that, web development is very important, because web development or Android development, actually, the projects that you will work on here, they are the projects that actually SD companies do in the real world. I mean, you can say it as like a reflection. For example, in my uh, basically in my fourth semester, I had a course called software engineering. So through which we had to do a term project. So I, along with my teammates, we created an NGO management system. So we had to build a website for an NGO, and it has certain features. There was a front end, back end, and we had to store data as well. So these are a lot of components which are going to be useful in the real world. So if you're targeting for an SD role, then yes, having a development experience will benefit you on your CV. So, and same goes for Android development also. Android development is just same as web development only. Basically, the framework is a little different. Correct. And what I wanted to add was, yes, when you are trying to show these development projects, you need to show that what work you did, what are the features of your project. Yes, these things you'll have to highlight. Machine learning is, I won't say it is as, but I won't say machine learning is as important for SD role, because in machine learning, you are solving a different problem. In web development, you are creating a product which the end user will be able to use, or some service which some another service will be able to. In machine learning, you have data, you are trying to bring out some certain inference. It's a different domain. So I'll say that yes, if you are focusing on SDA profile, and if you have decent coding experience, then to supplement your candidature, you can have web development, Android development projects.
And how many such well-made projects do you think would be a good addition to the CV?
Okay. I think a minimum of, minimum of two should be there. And they shouldn't be just any, normal random projects. When you're putting those projects in your CV, you should be clear with exactly with what you have done. And you should be able to justify each and every point that you write regarding that project in the CV. Like if you say that, yes, I've made a calculator on a website, that's a very simple project. You have to look little beyond that.
And since CP, being very good at CP is not something that is possible for a lot of people, when it comes to SD roles, people, should they prioritize dev and DSA equally, or should they prioritize one over the other?
See, again, it's personal, because there are a lot of people who have already been doing CP before the CDC process even starts, like before even the summer vacation. There are people who have been doing CP for months. So for them, getting a very great rating in contest is not a difficult thing. They can do that. So it's up to you. There are even people who can who grind the Codeforce's rating in a matter of 3-4 months. So it's personal, completely personal.
Okay, that clears a lot of things up. Thank you for that. So yes, coming on to a very popular question. How does CG impact the overall selection and shortlisting process? And are there any factors which, when worked upon, can compensate for a lower CG?
Okay. Okay. So honestly, yes, CG is important, but the impact of CG for SD roles is less than what it might be for consult, for quant, because quant has a higher CG requirement. So keeping a CG of 8.5 plus CG, if you keep, then you may be safe. You will be safe. There's a very good chance of you getting the shortlists. And keeping a CG of above 8 also shouldn't be a problem. The lot of companies actually, what they do is, in SD, they don't even have a CG condition. But this becomes important during the shortlisting process. So if you have a CG of 8.5 and above, very good, you are in a good position. If you are above 8, then yes, still you're fine. But you may have to wait for further rounds or further days. There's a chance. And yes, compensating for a low CG can be done by making a good resume. You have to, if you're not good in CG, if your CG is not great, then you have to reflect that in your candidature. Like, yes, if you have prior internships or prior projects regarding development, then that is a good addition. And yes, ratings as well.
Thank you. That was very enlightening.
Venkatesh, if we have a case such that a non-circular student has a CG less than 8.5, then how should he maximize his chances of getting shortlisted?
Okay. See, that's the thing. Then if you're non-circuital and if your CG is less than 8.5, then you'll have to show some kind of an exception. Like either you got an internship at an extremely great company, or you have a very good CF rating. Basically, you need to show some kind of a exceptional factors in your resume so that your candidature is highlighted. Other than that, also what I'll say is there will be companies that will be coming later as well. Even after day 1, day 2 also, there will be companies that will be consistently coming for this SD role, and one can apply there as well. That will also be open.
So that was very enlightening.
So I'll just say, irrespective of whether you're circuital or not circuital, don't worry. What matters is persistence, patience, always keeping your hope up. Because personally, I have seen a lot of my batchmates, non-circuital batchmates as well, who may not have gotten an internship in the initial rounds, but they did not lose hope. They kept working hard. They kept practicing online assessments. They kept trying to make a good CV or CV तो they already make, correct. Again, they try to prepare well for interviews, improve their online assessment skills, and finally they managed to get the internships in the end. So what matters is keeping your hope up and fighting till the end.
Okay. Thank you.
That was
Moving on to the next question.
inspirational. Thank you.
Building a solid CV is crucial for showcasing skills, as we have already mentioned. Please share some insights on crafting a compelling CV. How many internships and projects should a strong CV include?
Okay. So this is a very interesting thing actually, because this building your CV, I mean, it concerns all the people, irrespective of whether you have a low CG or a high CG, irrespective of your experience branch. Building a CV for that too, I mean, for me, it was the first time. It was my first professional experience, so it was the first time I ever built a CV. So it's very memorable for me. So what I did was, initially I made a draft CV. One of the main points was choose which sections you want to put in. There will be a lot of sections which will be available for you to put, like say achievements, academic achievements, let's say internships, prior experience, projects, publications, extracurricular activities, so on. There are a lot of sections. So what you need to do is you need to prioritize which sections you want to put in that make you look strong for that field. So that is one thing which you have to decide first. Having decided that, you need to see how you are going to write those sections. Let's say, for example, suppose I have my projects. Which projects do I put in? So as I said, minimum keeping 2 projects looks good. And in that as well, you need to give a good headline for your project. What skills did it involve, that project? Then you need to write 3 or 4 points basically stating about the project, the features of that project. One line could be what that project does. One line could be what are the salient features of that project. Then one line would be what are the technologies involved. One line could be what was your contribution in that project. And while stating these things, you need to ensure that you are able to embolden technical words, important words which create an impact. Like for example, again in SD, the technologies that you implemented, the feature that if there's a very important feature that's good, that's great, then you can bold that. So yes, so bolding is important, and try to write full length, write the points as a full length to ensure that there is less white space in the CV. So I don't know, even I'm not sure how this white space ka funda came across. Basically, it's a indicator to to ensure that your CV looks filled. So try to write end to points which are covered end to end. That is there. And explain your projects or experiences in clear and concise words with important words. It should be in bold. Correct. So these points are there. So for me, I put my academic achievements because I had given certain past Olympiads. So I wanted to show that I did that. Then I put in the section of projects. Yeah. So you need to decide which sections you put in. Whichever section you're putting, whichever section you're filling, try to put at least two things in that. Like projects you put at least two. And each of the projects you explain them in this way I specified, like writing them in 3 or 4 points, explaining what it is, salient features, see, one point each, and embolden the certain technical words. And correct. So once you do this, you might have a draft CV with you. Correct. So review that CV with your batchmates, with your seniors who have already gotten internships. Review seniors, correct, all the seniors, I'll say, who have sat for this process, who have worked on this. So they will be giving you suggestions. So based on those suggestions, take it positively, take it as a good critic, and continuously revise your CV. And so for me, I was able to get my CV in 4 drafts. Like I was satisfied with the CV that I had gotten, that yes, this is fine with me, I'm okay with this, and with this I can sit in the interviews. So yes, reviewing is a very important thing. Additionally, I've also seen people use certain AI tools to check their CV. After uploading your CV, a certain score is given. So you may use those kind of portals as well to improve that score. Because by improving that score, ultimately you are improving the quality of your CV. So that is also fine.
Understood. Understood. Can you explain whether having a prior internship experience raises your chances significantly of being selected? And did you have any prior internship experience to CTC?
Okay. Okay, so yes, I didn't have any prior internship experience. That is why I tried to add those sections which are my strengths. So for example, since I didn't have any previous internship experience, I put my academic achievements like RMO, INMO. These are actually prestigious Olympiads, and these are prestigious Olympiads. So having a good performance in them does matter. So I put achievements. And yes, if you have a good internship experience, and since you are targeting for an SD role, if you already have an internship experience in software development itself, of course it will be beneficial. But it's not like a necessary condition.
Understood. Thank you. So moving on to the next question. Generally, there's a lot of rush in people during the internship season. So could you please share some of the topics you reviewed at the last minute before your interview rounds?
Okay. So firstly, have a calm mind. If the fact that you have reached till an interview means that you had put enough efforts to get shortlisted. That first of all, getting shortlisted is the biggest thing. And if someone has gotten shortlisted, is trying to get ready for the interview, congratulations. So give a pat on the back for yourself for reaching till that stage. After that, keep a calm mind. Then you can do CV preparation, like preparing your CV. Okay, by CV preparation, I mean being thorough with what is written in your CV. Each and every point that you have written, you should know it, and you should be able to justify it. You should be able to defend it. What I did was I created mind maps, like let's say NGO management system. Then I created mind map. What were the softwares used in this? What are the features? What are what these and this and that? And then I tried to go through that. I'd created these mind maps before, and just I went through that before my interview, so that I'm clear with what project I had done, and if I am able to defend any point. And yes, of course, I would like to say that go through the standard problems. Like if you are just before the interview, if you are in last minute, then of course you won't be able to solve more, right? So quickly go through solutions of the problems that you had solved before, or the problems. First of all, cover important standard problems, because it shouldn't happen like after an interview you regret that, "Arey yaar, this was just a standard problem. I could have done it before." So just go through the standard problems which you have done once, and through your experience of problem solving, if you have flagged any important problems, then go through those solutions. Similar to how it happens in JEE. You cover your difficult topics, you check different topics, you check your formula sheet, you go through your important problems. So that's what you.
Thank you so much for those valuable inputs.
Moving ahead, how do we convey our technical expertise effectively to the interviewer? Can you give us some general tips to ace the interview?
Okay. So okay. So during the interview, first of all, again, you need to be calm throughout the process. Okay, you calm throughout the interview. Introduce yourself normally. It's just like having a normal conversation with someone. Okay, not you don't have to get too formal. You don't have to get too informal. Just having a normal conversation with someone. Suppose someone has asked you a technical question. So you take your time. You think about it. You don't have to rush. Take 1 or 2 minutes about what he's trying to ask. Then you can give your initial answers. Suppose you have been given a coding question, like say something about graphs. So you think about it, what you have learned about graphs, how this problem can be solved using your graphs. Then start giving your initial thoughts. Even if you don't have a solution developed readily, it's fine. Because when you give your thoughts, when you share your thoughts with the interviewer knows whether you are on the right track or not. So by discussing with the interviewer and yourself, when after this continuous discussion, you'll ultimately reach your solution. You don't have to develop the entire solution in mind and then give him the answer. At the same time, I'll suggest that if he's answering something and you already know the answer to it, you still answer calmly. Okay, take time as if you're thinking stuff. Then you answer it calmly so that the interview should not get the wrong impression. I mean, he might do anything. He might even give you a difficult question after that. Or so this is one tactic. Of course, I'll say tactic. And yes, again, if someone asks you about a project, okay, so of course, I'm assuming that if that person has already done his CV prep before, then she should be able to answer a question regarding the project in a very calm, normal manner without getting too excited. But if he's stuck at something, some particular thing, so I'll suggest try not to make up any answer. Try not to, go your way around it. You can be blunt with the interviewer saying that, yes, I'm not familiar with this. I'll check up on this after the interview. I'm not familiar with this, because after, if you tell something that you know something, if you lie about it, then you again have to cover it up. You have to again cover it up. So instead of spending your resources there, you just be honest with the interviewer, say that, okay, I do not know this. If possible, could you tell me how you would look into it? That's the thing. So be honest, be yourself. And yeah, I think this is it actually regarding interview tactics. You just need to be calm. You need to be honest. You need to be clear with whatever you are saying. Correct. You should know what's coming out of your mouth. Don't try to fumble. Just say calmly whatever you're saying. And yes, take your time. Take a normal time. Think about it calmly and then answer. Yes, think and then answer. Yes.
Venkatesh, which platform would be better for preparing technical questions, interview bit or lead code?
Technical questions. Okay. I think interview bit is good. You can do lead code. Try doing lead code first, when you are covering the topics. Doing lead code then would be fine. And after that, in the end, yes, you can do interview bit. Because interview bit, what it has buckets of problems which they ask in the interview. So yes, interview bit you can do.
Interview bit is more comprehensive.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you, Venkatesh. That was very insightful answer.
Okay, now moving on to the final question. what advice would you like to give somebody who's targeting to get into your company?
Okay. So for advice for getting into Oracle would be same steps, everything that I've stated above, that have ensure that your DSL, you need to repeatedly practice also, so that in online assessments you are able to cover, you are able to give your online assessments well. And yes, do your CV preparation well, because they will definitely ask you about what projects you have done. Whatever you mention in your CV, they'll go through that, and yes, they will ask what projects you've done, what was this particular feature. So correct. So I had highlighted a keyword in my project, okay, and they asked me about that. What is this particular thing? This, it was highlighted to them, and yeah, and of course I had highlighted that word and I had prepared it very well. So I was able to explain it well to the interviewer. And you need to stay confident during the interviews. Be yourself, stay confident. That's all I will say.
Thank you, Venkatesh. I'm sure that these tips will help a lot to Ajanta.
I hope, definitely
Now
hope.
we will be open to, of course. Now we will be open to taking questions from the audience. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box below, and we will take up your questions from there. So a question that I see here by Shubhranil Mitra is, what is the role of PORs in this? Do they matter for an SD role?
No, not much actually, because SD is more involved with what kind of development work you are doing. I mean, your technical, it's more aligned towards your technical experience. So, but if your POR has certain technical experience, then yes, that may be of help.
Okay, thank you for that. Another question that I
There
see
are
here
a
is, if
lot of
somebody is,
questions regarding code forces rating. They are telling, what do you mean by a very good code forces rating?
Okay. Actually, I hadn't given that many Code Forces contests, so I'm not familiar with the exact rating. But I think I've heard from the people I've heard, they're saying that having 1400 or targeting of 1400 to 1500, if you're able to get in Code Forces, that is good. That means you have good DSA knowledge. So I'll say 1400 to 1500 is a good rating. But again,
okay,
see,
Thank you.
this is my
so
opinion. See, I didn't give that many Code Forces contests. It's this number is what I have heard from my batchmates.
Thank you.
so another interesting question that I see here is, let's say somebody made a project, but it was a team project. It was a good project. Should they include it to their CV, because they might not be able to explain every part of it because somebody else worked on it?
Okay. Okay. So what you can do in that case is you can add that project. See, since you have worked in that project, you at least have an idea of what the overall project is. Then you can state there what was your contribution in that project. What I mean by knowing each and every detail of the project is you should be familiar with each and every detail that you have worked with. Like, for example, in the NGO management system, I was mostly involved with the backend. I did not know how the front end was made. I mean, I just know that yes, it was made in CSS, but what exactly did my other teammate do? I had no idea. But I knew what was the overall idea of the project, what were the features that the project implemented, and what was my contribution that I was able to justify that.
Understood.
Another question I see is that, does branch matter a lot?
That's it. This is the question.
Yeah, that's the question. In this interview process only. Yeah, that's
Interview process. No, see, once you get till the interview, it's your candidature that matters. This whether you're from circuital branch or non-circuital branch, all these factors, they're rather more important. they play a deciding factor in the shortlist during shortlisting. But once you are able to clear the shortlisting process, when you are able to reach the interviews, then it's only you and you who's going to be judged.
Okay, thank you.
So a question that I see here is, do SDE companies come here uh, for front end and back end specifically, or they are just very general in their selection?
They are very general in their selection actually, because front end and back end are components of web development. But software development, actually, it contains a lot of uh, domains actually. I myself am working within a specific, in Oracle also I'm working within a very specific product of Oracle. So it's not like front end or back end. Yes. So when they come, they actually hire for general roles. They decide your specific things, specific roles later.
Understood. Understood. Thank you for that.
There's another question which I can see is, can one target CDC internship for multiple profiles, or is it better to be in a single profile?
See, definitely. See, if someone has the capability, if someone has good DSS skills, if someone has good DSS skills and also worked a lot on ML, then of course he will try for SD and data both. And if someone has done quant also, if someone has done quant prep also, then he can of course sit for SD, data, ML. Sorry, SD, data, quant. Of course he can do that. But again, it's based on your preference. Now, there are some people who had experience in SD also and ML also. But finally, in the end, they decided to go with SD because they knew their strengths. They knew within this specific time frame which thing they'll improve. So yes, there are people who have certain knowledge in multiple fields, but they choose to go only through one track. There are people who try for multiple things. It's completely all right. What matters is you should be able to get an internship through that.
Okay, thanks a lot. There were a lot of insights on that.
A common question that I'm seeing is, and I quote, "My biggest problem is my mind blanks out in an interview. I am not able to recall even those things which I've practiced a lot." Do you have any suggestions for this?
Okay. I think one what should do is what one should do is could prepare a demo script. Like you yourself try to anticipate the questions they may ask you. You prepare demo answers and you talk with yourself in front of the mirror. Okay, you keep testing yourself. You bring in your friends also in this process. You can also have an interview session with them as well. I did that. So I enjoyed that actually. So yes, by talking to yourself through the mirror, by talking with your friends, giving mock interviews. Apparently, I guess you guys actually do conduct mock interviews, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
giving mock interviews will also be a very good source, to practice before the actual interview.
Understood. So they should practice so that they can beat the fear, basically.
Correct. Practice with yourself. Practice your speaking skills. Practice with your friends.
Another interesting question which I can see is, what is the way or process to come up with ideas for a project?
Nice question actually. Okay. So one way is that if you are interested about something, if you are interested about solving a particular problem, you can try doing a project on it. And of course, you can take the help of the internet to see what other people have done. Other than that, if you search on GitHub, then there will be already a lot of standard web development projects that people have done. So they came from those GitHub projects as well. Correct. So it's mainly, scouring on the internet, searching for web development ideas. So it may be, like I said, like a management system, or maybe an online shopping website, or maybe something unique, something different. So if you go on the internet, if you search for these ideas, you will get it. And of course, you can take GitHub ideas as a inspiration.
Also, could you list down some criteria if I have if I have multiple projects which I want to work upon? How should I prioritize which one I should choose based on the current scenario?
Okay. See, if okay, any of the projects that you take, if they showcase you having development experience, like one of the best examples is having a front end and a back end. And if you see, you can also have front end back end through Python also. So basically, you are able to provide something for the end user. You are interacting with the end user, and in the background, you have some processing that you're doing. So basically, if you're doing something for the end user, giving a product, giving a service for the end user. So those kind of things, if you work on, that will reflect uh, your development experience. Like for example, what I did was uh, I I have an interest in computer vision. Okay, so what I developed was I I developed a website. It's very simple website. I didn't work much on the front end, so I kept a very simple website where the user will be able to upload photos, and the backend, what will do it will generate a panorama and allow the user to download that image. Very simple idea. So you can start from here as well.
That was a great answer.
Another interesting question that I see here is, does learning uncommon skills like cloud computing or blockchain help during the CDC preparation? How many companies look for this? What do you think?
Uh, there are a very few companies actually that come specifically for cloud computing or blockchain. It is possible that they are looking for general skills in a candidate, and later, if you get selected, they may put you in those roles. But uh, there are very few companies that specifically come for these roles. They don't want to, specify. They don't want to take candidates and immediately into specific categories. They want to take a general idea. So yes, of course, I feel that if you have certain these uncommon skills, it may have an advantage in your CV because it will then keep you apart from the other people. It may be advantages. Yes,
Okay, but DSA would always come first because most companies are still general.
exactly, definitely. Because all the companies, what they do is they take online assessments. So that's the first step that you have to do. DSA you have to do.
Understood. Yes. Okay, so now we will be concluding the Q&A session.
Okay.
Thank you, Venkatesh. We have almost reached the end of our really insightful and informative event. I would ask if there is something you want to share or any general funda that might have been missed in the discussion tonight.
Mm, see, what I'll say is, uh, it's never too late. It's never too late, to get into DSA, get into tech, start your DSA preparation. It's never too late. Uh, Correct. But throughout this entire process, there will be a lot of things that will happen. You'll be questioning this, that why is this happening? This is not fair. There'll be a lot of things that will come up. What I'll say is you have to keep your mind positive. You need to stay hopeful, stay persistent. You need to continuously keep giving efforts. You should not stop. That's what will keep you going. And even if you don't get secure a CDC internship, it's completely all right. Of course, put a fight for CDC first. If not, then you have the rest of the year till the next summer to keep looking for good internships. You will have competitions. Through competitions you can apply. Through LinkedIn you can apply. And yes, later also what companies do is they also release their own private internship drives. So you can apply through that as well. So there will be opportunities always. So it's important to stay positive and keep on persevering. That's what I'll say.
Thanks a lot, Venkatesh. I'm sure there was a lot to gain from those answers.
Thank you. Actually, I'm actually very glad
So
that
I
I was
want
able
to
to share my experience with all of you.
I want to again extend my congratulations to you on securing such an impressive internship. I want to thank you for your valuable time and for sharing such impactful insights. I am confident that your experience and guidance would be incredibly beneficial to all of us.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Janta, before we end the seminar, there's an important announcement. Tomorrow, we'll be having a panel discussion on the consult profile. So let's meet again tomorrow to gain funda about the consult profile. See you all.
And last but not the least, I would like to thank our audience for actively participating and making this event more interesting and interactive. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkatesh, for all your answers. And it was a really interesting event.
Thank you. Bye, Janta.